one thing that I could have done better, I wish I did better in my 20s, it was being more financially literate so that I could take advantage of certain things.
Dude, if I was a dancer and I asked you for like advice and you hit me with that, I'd be so f***ing bummed out.
Yeah.
And welcome back to another amazing episode of The Careful Boys, where we are currently
Off the record. No one wants to stay with me.
Do you want all of us here? Okay, hold on.
Waiting for you to.
Well, I thought you were gonna keep.
Don't blame it on me. I already did the fucking lob. It's like in volleyball when you set it. That's it. You can't touch the ball again.
But it's different every time. Sometimes Ryan says it. Sometimes you point to the guy next to you. So I didn't know you want all of us to say it.
I thought we were doing like a Wheel of Fortune.
I was trying to mind my own business.
And to be honest, I was about to fart, and I was wondering if I should do it.
Hey, everybody, moment of silence. Moment of silence for Bart.
It's been inside still.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But now
Go
it's
ahead.
gone.
Go ahead.
Like I feel it, but it doesn't want to come out. It's not at the. Go ahead. Let me see. No, it's not coming out.
That was a fake grunt. You weren't really trying to squeeze those cheeks.
I swear to God, I was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, try it again.
It's like a kid shitting his diaper.
No, it's stuck.
That was
it
more
went too
believable.
far up, dude. The fucking bubble went up the fucking straw.
So when's you gonna tell us about how awesome Vegas is again?
No. I'm never gonna say shit like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
But you were totally bragging about how you saved $40,000 in taxes.
Only in our private group. I didn't think you were gonna make it public information.
These are our loyal fans.
If it's public now, so in the group chat, recently we had to do our 2022 taxes, and in the taxes, because I lived in Nevada for a full year now, I was like, what would my taxes be? What would be my taxes had I stayed in California? And I saved, I think, like almost $47,000.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
What are you gonna use it for?
A raise.
Times 2 or 3 or
Invest in your own businesses.
times 2 or 3 years, shit adds up like crazy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's only California taxes, which means you're balling.
Well, Anthony doesn't want to go anywhere. He doesn't want to move to the States, so.
How's the water situation up there, though?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Not rained like crazy the last 6 months. So like Lake Mead is like overflowing now.
Yeah, really?
Hey, put it all on black.
Put it on black.
Yeah.
Got guts?
Would you do it?
What?
Put it all on black?
No, I'm not Joe.
Oh, you don't want double the money? All right.
Joe's down. Joe's
Guess
crazy.
this guy doesn't like money.
Nah,
This guy hates dollars.
He hates an opportunity.
I'm scared of crazy shit like that.
What is like an actual practical game plan though for you when you're thinking like, okay, cool, like now I've saved this much by moving out here. I'm gonna use this money to. We know it's not reinvest into your business, but like, what are like strategies?
So that was a strategy when we first thought about moving, because at that time, when I talked with my accountant, I was like, based off the last 3 years, can you estimate like how much I would save? And then he said it's gonna probably be anywhere from like 50 to maybe even 100. So I was like, okay, cool. So if I move to Vegas and I hate it, and I come back in 5 years, I would come back 200 to almost 500 richer. What? So I was like, that's
Worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Just living somewhere else for 5 years. If I hate, I'll just come back. So this was the first year I was able to kind of take like the empirical evidence and then match it with what we forecasted. So I was like, okay, cool.
So you're getting proof now.
This is what we speculated, and this is what happened.
Cool.
So pretty happy. Why do you look so grumpy, dude?
Oh, dude, we're not jealous.
We're jealous.
For sure.
So how's the water, though? Like, you can only drink like 1 cup a day?
They have Dasani and Smart Water and Crystal Geyser. They got all the same brands over there.
But it's only 1 pack a month.
How about you, Nick? How much have you saved tax-wise now that you have 2 kids?
Fucking nothing, dude. I'm getting destroyed on taxes.
You haven't used your pugs as deductions?
No, I tried to, and they laughed in my face. They looked at me like I was a fuck.
You can do it until you get audited.
Yeah. Honestly, my biggest fear is getting audited.
It sucks.
You seem like a guy that's scared of being audited.
Yeah. Dude,
You've been audited?
what? Hey.
What flagged the audit?
Is it an IRS audit?
Yeah, IRS audit. It's
What flagged them?
I don't even know that they tell you what exactly the flags, but some things I learned recently is don't round up or round down your numbers. So let's just say, for example, the number is like 1,230 and 67 cents. But don't put 1,230.
Oh, so it flags just by being
So you got to put the cents, put everything in, because it flags things. Obviously, if your accountant doesn't want you to make money on paper for a year or two, so if you do it like I think 3+ years, that flags them.
That's what your accountant did?
Well,
Walter made $0.
But with deductions and stuff, it's actually it's accurate. It's accurate, but it flags them.
So it's one of those things it got flagged, they audited, and they're like, okay, there was no wrongdoing here, but
No,
there was wrongdoing.
Well, no, there wasn't any wrongdoing. It's what she wouldn't classify certain things as what we classify them as.
So your sex dolls are not a business expense, Walter.
I tried. Yeah. For research, I really tried, but she was like, "No, it's not research. You're just trying to have fun."
Aw.
Like, you don't know that.
No, those are emotional support dolls.
That's the tough part. So and then I had a stickler auditor, and then so she actually increased the amount of years I was audited. So rather than 1 year, she increased it to like I think 3 years.
No.
Wow, you must have really talked back.
It sucked. It sucked. Yeah. So getting audited. So like there's no rhyme or reason other than just bad luck, bad timing. Because when I got audited, it was less than 1% were getting audited. Now it's a little over 1%. Yeah. I totally did.
The auditory.
Yeah.
Come on.
I was there.
There is some though, like if like you're the IRS, though, you're also not trying to audit people that like
Make a lot of money.
no, don't make a lot of money, right?
Would be like a waste of
don't
time.
do it,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's what it.
They do get audited because they can't fight it.
Yeah.
They don't have the funds to
But
fight.
you gotta hit like a sweet spot in between, right?
It's like more the middle class than anything. Middle class.
So like when they audit like a multi-millionaire, they can afford tax attorneys, like 20 tax attorneys, to fight against one.
Yeah, they're trying to go. They want
Yeah.
like small businesses that like have money to pay but don't have enough to like change the scope of their.
The auditor that you had, would you say like outside of that situation you would hang out with that person?
I never met the auditor.
Okay.
I didn't. That's a good question.
you wouldn't
She
get
was a
dim
woman.
sum with them or
Yeah,
anything?
you went on.
She was a woman, and she was a potential Jerry because she's Southeast Asian.
Yeah. Was she a real stickler?
I won't say she's Vietnamese, but wait, she's still very.
She was a fam?
Yeah. Actually, I think she was a fan.
How
Yeah.
stressed were
Nancy
you during those conversations? Those email exchanges.
It wasn't more stress. I was more like upset
Yeah.
because I was getting accused of things that I wasn't doing. And then it wasn't actually not, it was not even accused. It's like basically you did this. This is what you did. And it's like no, yeah, it's like no, I didn't. And then it would disprove that you didn't do it. Yeah. So basically, I felt like I was guilty before, rather than being innocent, until proven guilty.
What kind of things are those? Are those very basic, like you said you spent this and you don't have a receipt?
For example, my Asian tour. She's like, you don't have any receipts that you got paid. I go, well, that's not how they pay. It's all cash. And she goes, no, I think you're lying. And then and there was a time when the Laugh Factory, the owner of the Laugh Factory, he told me, hey, if you find a venue out there, I'll let you use Laugh Factory name and open a club. So I was like, cool. So I told you it's a research, but you don't have anything written. Who writes that? Like, what business is going to be like, oh yeah, hey, I'm going to write you a letter that says, hey, go ahead and open a club. No one's going to do that. But no, you're lying. Like, you just went for vacation. So I couldn't write any of that off.
If she was like, I think you're just lying about being a comedian. Unless you can make me laugh right now. What joke would you tell her?
I would tell her, like, I would say, let's see, say knock knock.
Knock, knock.
Who's there? Gotcha, huh? No, that's not it.
It's like we're gonna increase that to 6 years of audit.
You're looking at molestation charges.
I'm not Nick, though. I'm not Nick.
I'm not Nick.
She's like, who's Nick?
She's all, yeah, you're right.
She
You're
writes
right.
a name down. Nick, I'm gonna look up this guy. He's next.
Right. Yeah.
She shows a picture of me. I'm like,
Yeah. Sorry, Walter, you're not.
You're not.
I feel like audits for like small businesses though, is like getting a speeding ticket on the freeway. Like everybody's speeding. You just got caught that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like even the things that you're like getting in trouble for or whatever, it's not like you are fucking tax fraud, like money laundering, like mafia. It's like you're just doing certain business practices that aren't like to the T or like, you know what I mean, like beneficial because everyone in the ecosystem.
Technically, every small business starts off illegal.
Yeah.
Because like if you're supposed to do it the right way.
Today's video is brought to you by Lumi. All right, me. To tell you the truth, I am not a deodorant guy. I used to wear deodorant all the freaking time in high school until one day someone told me, you know, that stuff is harmful to you. And I was like, for real? So I did my research and I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. There's metals in there. It's disgusting. And on top of that, I don't even smell. So I just use cologne once in a while if I stink. But now that I'm religiously always working out and I don't have time to take a shower immediately after the gym, I just like wished I had something to clear and freshen up just a little bit. But thank goodness we got Lumi here, which is a whole body of deodorant. It's a whole body deodorant, meaning I could just rub it on my forehead, on my armpit, on my butt crack, everywhere.
Yeah, because originally it was invented by an OBGYN. It was supposed to be for the hoo-ha. And you know, that's a very sensitive place. And because it has to be perfectly pH balanced for the hoo-ha, it actually works everywhere else. So if you got smelly parts anywhere, inner thigh, under boob, armpit, whatever, it'll take care of it at the source. It doesn't cover up the smell, it prevents the smell from even happening. And like Joe said, a lot of other deodorants got some harmful metals, but this one's aluminum free, paraben free, baking soda free, and it is perfectly pH balanced to use all over your body.
My favorite smell is a clean tangerine. But they also have fresh alpine. They have very nice smells like lavender and stuff like that. You definitely gotta check it out.
So if you're looking for somewhere to start, the Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick of deodorant, the cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice like the deodorant body wash and the deodorant wipes. And on top of that, you get free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off the starter pack with code OTR at lumedeodorant.com. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack when you visit lumedeodorant.com and use the code OTR. You're technically supposed to pay yourself as an employee right from the start, but that's your first way to save money is I'm
Not pay
not pay myself so I can get this thing fucking up and running.
Right.
So you're technically already an unpaid worker and you're supposed to like fucking sue yourself for some shit, which is crazy.
Yeah, so your own LLC.
Yeah, it's fucking impossible.
You know the TikTok thing that's been going around about like, oh, buy a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
And then you can just tax right out. So I asked my accountant about it, right? And she goes, okay, what they're neglecting to tell you is that when you go to, because they say to buy a G-Wagon because it retains its value. And then so when you go to sell it, it only drops in a little bit for what you pay for. But what my accountant said is what they're neglecting to tell you is when you sell it, you have to report that. So then all the tax deductions you got from it, you have to pay it back once you get that money back.
Yeah.
And then, but people are like, no, you don't gotta do that. Yeah, like I said, you could write your pugs off until you get audited.
Until you get got.
And then when you get audited, and then they find out that, oh, you spent $150,000 on a car and you didn't pay taxes on it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you have to pay the back taxes on it, plus penalty, plus interest.
Right.
So, like, and then if they audit you, because they have, I think, what, 5, 6 years, 7 years, they can like go back and be like, oh, okay, hey, then you're paying interest on, like, let's say 5 years. And then penalty, because the assumption is that you were supposed to have paid. So since you're guilty, we could charge you interest and penalty. And that's what all that just kills you.
But depending on who you're selling a car to, nobody ever really writes the true value they got.
Yeah, but then but if you get audited, they're gonna be like, oh, what happened to this vehicle?
You can't just tell them that you sold it for $500.
No one's gonna believe that. Like they'll write the receipt for $1. A lot of used cars people will do that. Like, hey, I paid $1.
But then how could they, if they're like, I don't believe you, but it's on the paper on both sides?
They'll look at your bank records and they'll look at your bank records and go, where did this $120,000 come from?
What if it's all in cash and it's just in your house?
It's up to the auditor. It might, like, I don't know for sure, but my guess is up to the auditor. But they add, like, basically she wanted my bank records for all the years that she included the audit.
Oh wow, so
Gosh,
she's just
that's so,
cross-referencing.
like-
Yeah, so she's like, "Where's this? Where did this come from? Where did this go? Where did blah blah blah?" So basically, like if you did the G-Wagon thing and you spent 150,000, and then you sold it 3 years later for 120, she's like, "Where did the 120 come from?"
There's a paper trail for everything.
Yeah, like, oh, it's from the from the sale of my G-Wagon. Oh, so you sold it, but you didn't pay taxes on it, or because that's capital gains now.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking hate taxes. Since
Taxes
day
are
one,
the
since my
worst,
first
dude.
job ever,
Ugh.
I remember when I first started working, my minimum wage I think was like maybe $6.25 or $7. And I remember getting like your first check, and you're like, "Cool, I'm gonna have $7," but it already has the deductions or whatever, and you're like, "Fuck, I only get fucking like $4.50."
You're like, whose social security am I paying?
Yeah, I'm like, "God damn it! I worked 4 hours, and I get $16."
Isn't it funny when you were a kid, like when you were younger and you heard like on TV and in movies, there's always an old guy that goes, "I pay my taxes," and it doesn't resonate as a kid. You're like, "Why does he always say that?"
That guy's grumpy.
And then you get older and you're like, that is the first place your mind goes when like some shit happens to you. You're like, this is fucked up. Or you see someone else that doesn't and they're doing all this shit fucking around. You're
Right,
like,
right.
oh my God, like taxes is the first place your mind goes.
I usually don't talk about taxes with people, like, because people will do that. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you got to write this off, you got to do that." It's like, yeah, but that's not legal.
That's true, yeah. Because if you've been audited, then your perspective is totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of legal. Like those things are put in place for like small business owners and stuff like that to be able to get certain breaks.
Oh no, that stuff's legal. I'm talking about like people are like, "Oh yeah, you can include your dogs in the deduction. You can include," and they'll just say all these things, and then people eat it up and they go, "Oh yeah, I can do that." Yeah, you can do all that until you get audited.
And then
That's
once
true,
you've been
yeah.
audited, I'm sure you're in a pool of other people who've been audited, and you guys are all red flagged, where they're probably going to check on those people more because
Like on
you guys
Quick
have
Dial or
already-
some shit.
Yeah, for real. Because it's just like, well, they're more susceptible. Yeah, exactly.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, your perspective
So
is
shit.
way different.
Yeah, because I hear people all the time, like, "Oh, you just got to do this." It's like, no, you can do that.
People love to give blind advice.
Yeah, like TikTok is all like blind advice.
My CPA does say like half of the TikTok finance information is like wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're not giving the full context. They're like, well, if you did this, and yes, it's true if it's specifically this case or whatever.
And it's applied to nothing at all. They're just like, here's some stuff.
Like, you know about the insurance thing? Like, so if you get an insurance policy, let's say for $1 million, you can. They're like, the TikTok thing is you can borrow against the $1 million. So it's like, oh, this is what the wealthy do. They take out these large insurance policies and then they borrow against it, which is factual. That part's factual. Right. But so I called my insurance broker and I asked him about it. He goes, okay, so here's the issue. For you to get to have a substantial amount of insurance policy, let's say a $5 million insurance policy, you probably won't qualify for. Most people won't qualify for it. There's a guy who makes, I think he's like $20, $30 million. He was having problems getting a $5 million insurance policy. So the thing you can get is a $1 million one. But let's say, I forgot what the rates were, but let's just say it's like $1,500 a year for a $1 million insurance policy. You can only borrow against the $1,500 you put in. So after 10 years, you'll have $15,000. You borrow against the $15,000. It's like they're not going to let you borrow against the $1 million.
Yeah.
Only banks do that.
Yeah. So he's like, no, like what they're saying. Yeah, wealthy people do that, but they have hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. So their insurance policies, let's say $5-10 million, they can borrow against that, but they also have different collateral. So like he's like, no, they're not telling you the whole picture of what that.
That makes sense.
Because that's the sexier part.
Yeah.
If I'm a viewer, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking cool. I'm gonna do that this week.
Yeah, and most of those guys, they're selling insurance.
I'll borrow $1 million.
Yeah. Oh, look at these idiots haven't done this yet.
You know they told their friends that. Yo, I'm gonna get. And then most of those guys on TikTok are selling insurance policies. Yeah. So of course they want people to.
The incentive.
I see those like TikToks where like it's like hood ass dudes and they're talking about basically like very blatantly not illegal but like super unethical hacks to like get loans where like their credit's gonna get fucked but like it doesn't matter, and it's just crazy that people literally follow that.
Yeah.
Like it's like ways to like keep borrowing from different banks or max your credit card out in this way. But it's for your future, it's like so shit. But then for them, it's like it doesn't matter because they never had the intention of having like a, what is it, like an upstanding citizen's reputation.
Because those people ask them, like, are you planning on buying a home? No. Are you planning on getting a car in the next 7 years? No. Then just do this. because your credit will be ruined for 7 years, and after that you start over. They go, oh, okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, until something happens in their life, they're like, wait, I do need a car. I do need this. And
that's
like,
one of the things that me and Joe first started. We were trying to deduct like crazy because like the minute you start a business, it's like, okay, how do we pay as little taxes as possible?
Yeah.
So we're deducting, and then I remember it crossed our mind even just like 1%, like, oh, we should probably like buy a house or whatever. And then it was like hard to qualify for a house because it showed that we haven't made money on paper, you know.
On paper, yeah.
And then so we talked to our CPA, and he was like, well, then you need to start showing like revenue. And I'm like, oh, so that's how the deductions work.
That's the tough. You have to find the right balance where you're not paying too much taxes, but you're paying enough to where the loan people,
Yeah.
A crazy concept that I've realized lately is like, you know, for a long time now, there's like young dancers and stuff that come to LA or like that, you know, they're seeking advice. They're like, you know, what should I do? And I remember when I was in my like later 20s, my advice was always like, hustle hard, work harder than everybody in the room, blah, blah, blah. You know, motivational speech that has nothing to do with actual real world application. Now, anybody who's like coming and asking me for advice, first thing I'm sitting them down with is fucking financial strategy, planning, taxes, and understanding. Because if there was the biggest one thing that I could have done better, I wish I did better in my 20s, it was being more financially literate so that I could take advantage of certain things.
Dude, if I was a dancer and I asked you for like advice and you hit me with that, I'd be so fucking bummed out.
Yeah, I know.
Because you'd rather hear the hustle shit.
Nobody wants to hear like.
But that's the most important shit.
It is. Yeah. But this is me when I was like 22. Like anytime somebody would hit me with like financial advice, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, grandpa. Like you don't want to hear that shit. It's like such a bummer, but it is so important.
Recently, so I was talking to my CPA because we're trying to figure out like other like because I'm trying to like get more like houses and stuff. And I was like, okay, so I've been hearing this thing called fucking cost segregation or whatever, like on TikTok. And, like, you guys know what that is?
No.
You can technically like portion out different expenses to deduct against rental income.
Oh yeah.
So what usually it is like whatever the purchase value, you can deduct almost 75% of it over the next 27 like years or whatever. So like let's say if you buy a home that's like 500 G's, they're gonna account like 150K to the land value, but then your house is technically falling apart after the day you buy it. So you can deduct 350K over like let's say approximately 30 years. So that's almost like 10 to 12 G's a year you can deduct. Wow. So if you make rental income that's even $1,000 a month, which is 12 G's a year, on paper it shows like you made zero money, so you pay zero taxes, but in your bank account you're stacking 12 G's every year. So I was like,
heck?
Interesting.
I was like, how come they don't fucking teach this shit? This is
want you to know
crazy,
that shit,
right? Yeah, and I'm like, and then I was like, damn, like taxes should be like the first thing you learn either in college or maybe they did teach me, but I wasn't paying attention.
But they don't want people to be good at taxes.
Well, the way to do it too is also if you sit down with that 22-year-old Nick and you're like, dude, you got to get your financial literacy up. That's boring as fuck. But if you're like, hey, actually, because I saved on taxes and I did this, I bought this car. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, wait.
Now that's cool.
That's the biggest difference is like I have had people talk to me that way when I was younger, but they didn't have proof in their own life. That's the big difference. It's like they're just saying it.
Yeah.
But it's like the people that are practicing it and can show the results, they're just, I don't know them.
They didn't have enough Rolexes still.
Yeah.
And then they take it off and give it back to the person who gave it to them.
Yeah.
Like, it's just for the video.
I told a young comic, because I talk about money all the time. I go, look, hey, like I understand this thing about being hungry and it makes you work harder. That's cool. But you also got to eat and you have to have a roof over your head. So I told one comic, I go, you're white. You can move anywhere in the country. You don't have to stay in LA because it's hard for comics in LA. You can move anywhere. And I go, one thing for you is, like I asked him what his degree was in school. He's not one of those, he wanted to go to a trade school. Go join the elevators union because you can get work all over the country. It's guaranteed work. There's elevator workers have a union. You work during the day, which means at nighttime you can go perform stand-up. And wherever you work, wherever you move to, there's a club, and you be the host of the club, the resident host. But meanwhile, in the daytime, you're making money because you need money.
You do, yeah.
Like if you don't have, that stress of money is gone, it allows you to write up. And I know there's a flip side of like, oh, you're more hungry. Okay, cool. But if you enjoy not eating, you enjoy couch surfing, cool, go for it. But if you also enjoy eating and like having a roof over your head, Figure a way out to work during the day, and then work at night.
People love to romanticize like the rags to riches, success type of story.
Artist.
Yeah, people love that shit.
But if you look at SAG,
Overrated though, isn't it?
yeah,
Artists be starving though.
Yeah, for sure.
If you look at SAG, SAG has 130,000 union members. Less than 1% make all the money. What practical person is gonna like go into that and going, "Oh, I'm gonna make it"? No, chances are you're not.
Less than 1%.
It's crazy.
Is that really the
mad.
stats?
You still gotta pay your $3,000 initiation fee.
Oh yeah, when you start out, yeah, because like if you 1%, 125 is what, it's 1,250 people. Less than that make all like pretty much all the money that comes out. Yeah, like Tom Cruise fits.
That makes sense. Even with dance agents are like, I always ask them, like, hey, how do you guys make enough money? Like, because I had friends that would work for them, and they're like, you just need like 5 heavies. And everybody else is just, they already know that they're not going to bring money in. That's why they sign so many dancers. You know, they're just like, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're just like, you just need like a Tabitha and a Napoleon, and you're good.
Yeah.
Like, you just need some heavies.
Heavies.
Just need to fix some elevators.
I thought you were talking about tits at the beginning. I was like, what?